Hey everybody, welcome back to another topic video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on this channel as of late. As I said, excuse me for just, sometimes the few day period absence, just because I have, obligations here with my family, so there might be some stuff that pops up and I just have to attend to that. But that doesn't mean that I'm giving up on the channel or anything. So, just giving you guys an update on that. If I also seem kind of out of it, I literally just woke up and I just had breakfast. So if you see me like drinking water or something, I'm just still kind of waking up, but I'm in a good enough mindset to do this video because I want to talk about um, something a little bit, you know, strange for this channel, considering that I did a video about superheroes not too long ago. And how I'm just kind of done with it. I know this is not a superhero per se, but it falls within that category of superhero comic book type stuff, and that is with the anticipated sequel, Joker 2, which has now been confirmed to be happening. It's been rumored for a long time, aka they've been working on it, and they just have been waiting for a script to arrive, and now that said script has arrived, and now we're, looking at a possible Joker 2 for the near future with Todd Phillips back to write it and to direct it, I believe. I don't know if they've confirmed directing yet, but I'm pretty sure he's back to direct it. And surprisingly enough, Joaquin Phoenix is back as well. And we'll talk about why I'm surprised by that and why I'm a little bit cautious with certain things in regards to Joaquin Phoenix. But obviously, in talking about Joker 2, I feel the need to address my views on the first one. So when Joker came out, I saw it 3 times. I saw it 2 times in the theater, and then I saw it a third time at home with my mother. And the very first thing that I will say is that a lot of the controversy that spewed from it, I thought was very laughable, because the movie is not in any form. I mean, there's violence in it, but it is not up to the. It's not like The House That Jack Built, which I saw recently, or Crimes of the Future, which I saw very recently. Those movies are grotesque and they're nasty, and they're arresting in certain regards. Joker is it's like mainstream violence. It's like, it's squeaky clean. There's the hardest it gets is like the Robert De Niro scene where he shoots, where Joaquin shoots Robert in the head. Beyond that brief second though, everything else, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not really that, it's not as violent as other films. So that whole weird thing that went about, and a lot of the other conversations surrounding the film, like what responsibilities do filmmakers have, and creating art. And I had a conversation with my mom recently about the responsibilities that filmmakers have, to which I said they have absolutely none. They're there to make their own stories. They're there to be expressive. They're not there to be, presenting propaganda or a certain agenda. They're just there to talk about their views or represent their own stories, and that's it. They're not meant to be politicians, So I always, some people just can't see they blur the lines together and think it's all the same, and it's not. Art is not the same as politics or the real world issues. It's called entertainment for a reason. So all those issues that spawned from Joker, I just thought were just kind of ridiculous, especially for a film that's, upon watching it the third time, is completely fine. I mean, it's not anything great. It has a lot of issues. I think structurally, I think it's a huge issue. I don't think that I think it's kind of just thrown together in a way, and I don't feel that I get a lot of character out of Arthur Fleck from a story point of view. From Joaquin Phoenix, that's a different thing. I think that Joaquin is great in it. I think I've seen better work from him, but he is pretty. he is pretty solid in it, especially from a physical standpoint. His physicality is very interesting. Um, and I like at moments the mood and the atmosphere that is created, and the fact that Gotham is like more or less New York City, where it's like, um, you know, certain. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Noises going around the room. We're good. Um, where was I? Yeah. So Gotham. I like the fact that it's kind of basically like New York City. There's trash all over the streets, and there's a lot of questionable faces running around. Um, like I like that. I like that idea that they made for the city of Gotham, and just just in general for what Joker is trying to do. I like how they address mental illness. I love the idea of this laughing condition. Um, I really like all those details. I just don't feel that it amounted to much at the very end, or left much of a sting. It just kind of just was fine. Um, so so I don't love or hate Joker. I think it's okay. I don't think it's anything particularly special. I think the performances, in some regards, interesting and fascinating to watch. But I don't think it's anything that special. Now, in addressing Joker 2, Joker 2 has always been a weird conversation for me because um, if I'm not mistaken, the first Joker was meant to be a one-off. It was never meant to build as a franchise. Um, so for you to now create a sequel based on something that never was made to have a sequel to begin with, I'm not sure how that's going to flow. I'm not sure how that transition is going to feel. Um, and narratively speaking, when we're talking about Arthur Fleck, his story is done. I mean, I don't necessarily know what else you can do for his story that wouldn't come across as redundant or kind of meaningless, because really all I could see is that he just becomes the regular Joker. Like, we just see him running around doing violent acts and bathing in that mindset, because they're not going to just reverse that. He's not going to go back to being Arthur Fleck, because that would defeat the whole purpose of the first Joker. Um, so, um, so I don't see, like, the arc is pretty much complete. So it's very weird to me to hear them wanting to do a sequel for something that is a one-off, a standalone, and doesn't have a foundation to really go anywhere else beyond just just like I don't really have a desire to watch a movie about like the house that Jack built, right? It is about a man that does all these violent acts, but the thing about that is that you learn about this person's desires about violence and how he sees it as an artistic thing, and that's different also because that's the first time that we've seen this character. Arthur, we've already been introduced, so going into Joker 2, if it's just about the violence and if it's just about how he feels attached to this lifestyle, I don't find that particularly um, uh, understandable to create a whole movie out of. I can piece that together on my own, because it's Joker. We know who Joker is. We know what this character does, and how violent he can get. Just read any comic or just read a synopsis about Joker. We know this character, so it just feels a little strange for me to hear them doing a sequel in that regard, because the character of Arthur Fleck is done. So that to me is the first thing. The second thing is that, as I'm kind of alluding to, is that the story is confined. I mean, what the movie is about is mental illness, and from what I'm hearing about the sequel, they are looking to address other illnesses with another person, which we'll talk about shortly. Um, but the movie, the first Joker was about certain kinds of mental illnesses and a lot of how society contributes to it, um, and how how really how Arthur has been surrounded by nothing but violence and nothing but tragedy. and how that also forms his judgment, how it forms his particular beliefs, and how he becomes more and more ego-driven and egocentric. So, like, and that is pretty much established, shown, and represented through Joker. I don't feel that we need to explore that any further, because we saw his rise or his downfall, however you wish to see it. And, the message within that has been represented. I don't think that you need to explore any further with something like that. The story doesn't need to be expanded upon, because that confinement, that isolation is the point. So I don't see why you have to go any further with it, when the one-off story is is exactly it's exactly the I'm trying to find the word here. It's exactly the amount of time that these themes need to be shown. They don't need to be shown for another 2-hour runtime. So that's my first 2 points, is that I feel that thematically speaking, we've already have beaten a dead horse. The character we've already established and have, I feel, has completed an arc. Now, let's address what I just brought up in regards to Joker 2, which is the idea that we're going to be introducing another person with mental illness. Obviously, that person being Harley Quinn, because I don't see what else they're going to do with that. I feel like it's pretty obvious. I don't see how a story like Joker has room for a romance. I don't like chaotic romance. Like, I see what they're going to try to do here. I feel like that's getting away from what the first Joker was about. The first Joker was not about love. It was not about this and that revolving around some romance. There was mentions of a romance, or mentions of his desires to be in love, but it was not anything concrete or anything that important to the story. The story, as I mentioned, it was about a person being surrounded by nothing but violent acts and trauma, and how that forms his judgment and all that. So to make a sequel and to do something radically different like that, which I'm game for, I want to see something radically different, but something in that where we're getting away from what we've established and doing something completely different that feels almost otherworldly. I feel that that's a little troubling, because I don't know if I need to see a romance, angle for Joker. I don't think it's needed, because I could see how it's going to play out. Like, Arthur Fleck is, he's like this criminal. He's now like pretty well known, and Harley is the doctor. Maybe they catch Joker at one point, and then Harley, becomes obsessed, and and she sees how Joker is, and Joker tries to entice her and all that. So it's like they're gonna hit on beats that the comics did. At least it seems that way. Because I don't know how else you would introduce Harley. I mean, maybe she is just another person just running around the streets, and he just bumps into her or something. But the point being is that story, I feel, that feels like a standalone story in and of itself. I don't feel that it's a sequel to Joker, because a sequel to Joker would just be this man doing violent acts. Like, that would just be what the movie is. It would not be a romance type thing. That's a side story. That's not a primary story. That's a side story. So if that's, if they are looking to do primarily a romantic thing, I just feel that that's kind of, I feel that's getting away from what we've established. And we're talking about a sequel. We're not talking about, another standalone thing. We're talking about a sequel to Joker. And I don't know. I don't know if I feel that story is valid. And speaking of Joker, talking about Joaquin Phoenix, I have I have a theory about his involvement in Joker. This is just my theory. It could be totally wrong. I'm probably wrong on it, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Looking at what Joaquin Phoenix did for the role, he lost, a ton of weight. I think he lost like 60 pounds or something. Um, and did a lot of research on, this on particular illnesses and all this kind of stuff. And then he eventually won an Oscar for it. Don't think he deserved it, but whatever. But I have a theory because I remember watching interviews for Joker, and the way that Joaquin represents, addresses, hit the role, he he makes it sound like somebody who is proud of what he did, but he probably wouldn't do it again. And you're probably thinking, well, he is going to do it again because he's just signed up for Joker 2. My theory is this: I think he's not going to lose the weight. I think that he's just going to actually maintain the weight that he has because I don't think that he wants to indulge himself into that kind of parameters again. And I think that they're going to. I think that that's kind of one of the requirements that Joaquin probably asked of the director is that, look, if I'm going to do this movie, I don't want to lose the weight. I don't want to lose the weight. I want to, basically he's putting himself in a position to make more demands. And he's the star, so and the movie was a proven success, so he can make certain demands. So I personally think that he's not going to lose the weight. That's me. Or he's going to maybe lose a little bit of weight, but not like tremendously like he did in the first film. Like I could see physically that his appearance will be different because just from an acting standpoint, I can notice. Like, I don't want to. I'm not saying anything about myself, but I personally have lost weight and stuff for a particular role, and I can tell you this much: I probably wouldn't do it again. It'd have to be really, 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 really needed for for that kind of approach to make sense. And I just feel like Joaquin is looking at this and saying, "Look, I'll do it. Like I'm curious to see where this character goes, but I don't feel that I want to lose myself in that respect again. I don't. That's just where I'm coming from. Maybe Joaquin is game for it, probably is, but I'm just throwing a theory out there. I feel like he's not going to lose the weight or lose as much weight as he did in the first film. So, and the last thing, the most important thing about Joker 2 as an endeavor, and the thing that's obvious when it comes to this film, is that there is obviously pressure with making a film like this because the first Joker was, it was fairly mixed responses, but mostly on fandoms and on social media. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. It made a ton of money. It made, I believe, $1 billion. I believe it's the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Won a couple of Academy Awards. So, having all that and now transitioning into the sequel, there's a tremendous amount of pressure to get it quote unquote right, which I find to be a stupid phrase. But that pressure will ruin creativity. I mean, it happens almost all the time. It's called sequel syndrome for a reason. There's, you get wrapped up in the hype of it, the love for it. You get wrapped up in your own ego in a way, and you start writing things that go against, certain things, and you start to feel the weight of what you're creating. Like there's a lot of factors within that pressure that is given when you have created a piece that is widely successful and to an extent widely loved. I feel that Todd Phillips is probably feeling the pressure, and I just like for the longest time it feels like he didn't want to do a sequel. Like if you listen to interviews and just the way that he addresses it, he just feels like, I mean, sure, maybe, like kind of like in that mid-range, like I guess maybe, And that kind of mindset, I don't know if it's proper. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's proper when you want to make a sequel. Um, so I don't know. There's a lot of potential for this to fail, and a lot of potential for this to be a disappointment. I wasn't big on the first Joker, so I'm not really ecstatic for this one. I'm curious, but I'm not ecstatic. But I feel like it's a pointless endeavor. I really do. I never understood why doing a sequel to Joker was really needed. Because, like I said, the character's arc is complete. The story itself is complete. The movie was never built to be a franchise to begin with, so to switch it and having to create a certain foundation within that, it's going to be troubling. The story that they're looking to do for Joker 2, I feel, is just going against, it feels like a separate thing and not a continuation. Um, like, I don't know, it feels kind of pointless to me. Like, it feels like they should have just done another reboot. I mean, they already have a new Joker in the Batman, so I mean, the Batman, universe. Um, so, what's the problem with, because it seems that the company is fine with just rebooting characters every like 2 or 3 years or so. So, so what's the big deal of them just casting another Joker and just doing this kind of romantic type thing? So I don't know. I feel like this is I'm also hypocritical because I might see it just because I like the fact that it's not trying to be any. I mean, it is still a mainstream type of piece, but I'm liking that its attitudes are the polar opposites to what normal superhero films are nowadays. So I'm curious, but I feel like I feel like this is just gonna like. My fear is that this movie is gonna get wrapped up in the fandom of it all and all the, like, oh, look how great the original did and all this sort of stuff, and trying to do certain things based on ego and not from a creative standpoint, and also being weighed down by all the pressures of trying to get it quote unquote right. So like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more studio interference with this one because I'm pretty sure they're going to give them more money and this and that, So yeah, there's a lot of concern with this, and I just feel that it just feels pointless to me. I don't know. I feel like the story just feels. It feels like like I said, it feels like an add-on to your primary, to whatever your narrative is. It's not the narrative. So, especially when you're talking about a continuation. So I don't know. I'm a little torn. Mostly leaning towards I'm not really excited for this sort of thing, but I am curious. I am curious to see what they do. So for now, though, I still stand by my opinion, which is that I just feel like it's kind of pointless to be doing a sequel, especially when, the first one was never designed to have a sequel to begin with, because as I said, the story's complete. Like, that's why I still stand by, that my opinion, which is I feel it's pointless. But at the same time, the potential for what it could do is intriguing. It's interesting, but it's also really concerning. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I feel like the pressure is gonna get in the way of creating something potentially interesting and maybe competently made. But we'll see. So that's my thoughts on Joker 2. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for Joker 2? Do you guys think that it's where I'm at, where it's like it feels kind of like a pointless thing, kind of meaningless? And narratively, like, do you feel that a romance or including a character that is very similar in nature to Arthur is appropriate? Like, what do you guys think about all that? Did you guys like the first Joker as well? You guys let me know all your thoughts on that. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll have a first impressions video coming out because today I will be seeing something. So I'll have first impressions video out What day is it today? This one's getting posted on the 9th, so Saturday. So you'll see a video on Saturday, a first impressions video on Saturday. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.